everyone, it's Michaela Lynn here, creator and host of ChroniTalk. Welcome to the very first episode. I'm so excited to have you all on this journey with me. This podcast really is just a space for open, honest, and unfiltered conversations about chronic illness, disabilities, and health challenges. No matter how big or small those are, this is really just a community for sharing stories, spreading awareness, and most importantly, letting people know that they are not alone. So whether or not you're the person with the condition, a caregiver, or just here to learn, I'm so glad that you're tuning in today. All right, so let's dive right in. ChroniTalk was inspired from my own journey with a chronic illness, and it's a primary immune deficiency. But it's not just about me, it's also about the countless people like family, friends, and even strangers along the way who I met who shared very similar struggles. Living with an illness, especially one that isn't always visible, can be especially lonely and isolating. And even one that is visible, people tend to over-stigmatize things and really not understand any part of somebody's life with an illness or a disability, and that can be really hard, invisible or not. And that's really why I wanted to create a space where we can talk openly about these experiences and we can learn from each other. We can feel understood. And I know that in my personal journey, I didn't have really like a huge turning point until I got the scholarship to attend the Immune Deficiency Foundation, which is the IDF conference. It was the first time that I was surrounded by people who truly got it, who understood, they walked a similar path, they understood the exhaustion, the medical battles, the medical bills, the emotional toll, they understood it all. And that really made me realize this is such an experience and there is a powerful community here that I want to tap into. So what can you expect from ChroniTalk? Well, personal stories such as my own, guest interviews, Q&As, and really just everybody's experiences and stories, and whether or not they're the patient, the caregiver, an advocate. I want everyone to just come and share how they feel and kind of what worked for them, because I feel like I really needed to hear what worked for other people in the beginning. And I look back at those times, I remember listening to podcasts and just being like, wow, like this person understands it. They're actually going through the same thing. And I can't wait to share some of those podcasts that even I listened to in the beginning, and give a shout out to some of the people who helped me on my own journey, as well as some of the people that I met on Facebook groups. My life would not be the same without some of those people. We will be diving into a variety of topics, from mental and physical health, lifestyle changes, disabilities, immune deficiencies, autoimmune conditions, medical gaslighting, stress, navigating relationships, and so much more. No topic is really off limits here, because when it comes to chronic illness, everything is connected, and I want you to hear it all. I want us to share it all. I'm a nerd for the little fun facts, so I can't wait to throw a few of those out there for you guys, because man, I have found a lot as the time has gone on. I'll throw one at you now. For my own immune deficiency, I am on immunoglobulin treatment. So we will get into that, but without coverage, that costs around $20,000 a month in the US. Thankfully, as a Canadian here, I am not paying any sort of subsidy coverage for that or percentage of copay or anything like that. The biologic that I am on also is $3,000 a month. So another little fun fact. I don't pay for that one either, but in a lot of other places they would have to pay for that. And it takes 9 to 12 years for somebody to usually receive a primary immune deficiency diagnosis. So I look forward to jumping into all the money talk side of things with you all, because it's not just about my illness, but other people have a lot of financial grief that comes along with their illness or their diagnosis. Like, let's be real, chronic illness, disabilities, and all of the things, they're pretty financially taxing. Like, we don't really get a break, and I know some people that are in far worse conditions than I am. And like I said, even on Facebook groups, like I've seen in the States, people not have great copay and have to pay, even 10% of that $20,000 bill. Like it adds up. At the height of my symptoms, just before my diagnosis and starting treatment, I was just over $500 a month myself in pills and inhalers and paying for whatever kind of like baseline insurance coverage that I could pay for. But unfortunately, like because I do have a lot of pre-existing conditions, as many others would know, that makes you not qualified for getting a lot of different types of insurance. Aside from just the money talk, I also heard an interesting saying in the very beginning, and it has not left me. It was mentioned many times, even at the immune deficiency conference. And I know the IDF has definitely put it out there as well. So I would like to give a recognition to the IDF. Again, they are amazing, and there's so many facts out there that they have and resources that are just so helpful. And so the quote goes, "When you hear hoofbeats, think horses, not zebras." This is a medical aphorism. So this means that the doctors should first consider the common diagnosis rather than the rare one. And while we totally understand that, what that really means for all of us living with a primary immune deficiency or an autoimmune or something that they haven't found is really that you need to be your self-advocate, because they're going to look for the common stuff and they're not going to be looking for that rare diagnosis that's underneath. Looking back for myself, the signs were definitely there from a young age. I had constant infections from like bladder, skin, throat infections. I was always sick. A lot more than the typical kid should have been sick. Nobody really picked up on that. So because nothing looked too serious on the surface, it was brushed off. I guess I was just that unlucky sick kid, people thought. I also had very chronic migraines when I was a kid, and people didn't believe that until it became like a physical, like a parent on my face, or, I needed to lay down, or I was throwing up. And being sick as a kid and having the migraines and the chronic fatigue, like it was very frustrating. It was more than just the physical symptoms, and nobody truly understood what I was going through at the time. When I did finally get a diagnosis, I felt like validation. Thank you for finally hearing me. I don't feel as isolated. I feel like I don't have to prove to you, okay, there's something wrong with me. But I was also terrified. Like, it came with such a fear. I didn't know where to go. And prior to even getting the diagnosis, when we were in the talking stages of diagnosis, I was like so scared, listening to all of the things, trying to figure out all of the things. Like, if it's this, then maybe it'll come with this symptoms. Like, I was just so terrified, and I know we all do it, but you really have to refrain from like freaking yourself out and give yourself a sense of calmness that this is being taken care of and figured out. And, I did get my diagnosis in the end, but I feel like at the end of the day, like even today, I will still be fighting and self-advocating for my health, and this will be a never-ending story for me, as well as for many of you out there. Now, with that being said, I don't want to throw any disregard to like the medical system, and I am not here to give any sort of medical advice. I think one of the hardest things pre-diagnosis was not being believed, the dismissing, being told that it was normal or I was overreacting, doctor shopping. That kind of medical gaslighting definitely wears you down over time. It makes you second guess yourself. I guess deep down I knew something wasn't right, so I just kept pushing for the answers. And when I finally got my diagnosis, like I said, it was a mix of emotions. On one hand, I felt the validation. You finally get it. You understand. On the other hand, it's a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety. I heard words like treatment for life. What did that mean for my future? I feel like this was already a hard point in my life. Like everything was changing. I was giving up my business to reduce allergen levels. I gave up my cat. I rehomed him. He was full of dander. I was starting treatment. I was navigating life with an illness. Like there was so much happening already at that time. I couldn't even breathe sitting down, laying down. Like sleeping was so hard. I would just be walking around with my little toilet paper roll. I honestly felt like everything was so heavy at that point. So from medically to mentally to physically, I was overbeared with exhaustion. But with trust, I did all of those things. And I really just focused on rehoming the one cat, making sure I reduced that allergen level in the house, making sure I reduced it in my work life. I took some time off. I reduced stress. I got lots of therapy. I did all the good things. drink your water, eat your fiber, the good things. I'm still just trying to really take care of myself from the medical to mental to physical aspects. And I look forward to diving into that further with you all. Now, I want to point out, though, that treatment has given me a second chance, I feel like, at a normal life, or what I would define as my new normal. And it wasn't instant. There were adjustments, new medications, a lot of sacrifices, and even setbacks. But over time, I started feeling like myself again, and I do feel like I found kind of the right balance, including a biologic and multiple other medications, and managing my conditions and symptoms, and watching what I eat and where I go. But now I can do things that I thought that maybe I wasn't going to be able to do again. So that is why I do want to just open that space to talk about this and help others in any way that I can, even if that's being the voice on the other end that I was listening to, kind of thing. I know firsthand that living with a chronic illness can definitely make you feel invisible. It's easy to feel like no one truly understands this, no one understands what you're going through, you're just alone. But when we share our stories and we talk about things that are powerful, we create a connection, and we remind each other that even through our diagnosis, maybe being different, that our struggles and our fears, our victories are often the same. And this podcast is about breaking that silence and breaking the stigmas. I want to make sure that no one has to feel alone in this journey that they're going through, whatever your journey may be. When illnesses are invisible, people often assume that, like, you're fine, you must feel fine, right? Because you look fine. They question your pain, your fatigue, and your need for accommodations in general. People tell you need to push through it, but here's the truth. Chronic illness is real, and it's not about being sick. It's about every part of your life being impacted. And I hear you. I see you. And the only way we're going to break that stigma is by talking about it, by educating people, refusing to hide what we're going through. And that's why this podcast exists. I want to change that conversation. I want to challenge those outdated beliefs. And I want to show the world that we're not lazy. We're not dramatic. We're not faking it. But we are warriors. And we are fighting the battle that people are never going to see. So if you're out there feeling unheard or unseen, misunderstood, this podcast is going to be for you. And I hope that listening in, you're going to find the strength to share your story too, and we're all going to help each other. Thank you so much for being here for the first episode of ChroniTalk. I'm so excited for what's to come. There's so many stories to share, so many important conversations to have, and honestly, there's so many people that I haven't even met yet. And I'm excited for it all. I've been saying all week that it feels like the universe is sending me people, and I just need to get that podcast up and going. Like I'm at the gym in the sauna and I meet a lady, and then I'm in the elevator and I meet a lady, and then I'm just walking outside and I meet another lady, and it's just like, wow, okay, so maybe we all need to do this, and we need to have that space where we can talk, because if we can do that and we can just meet each other out in public and talk about these things, imagine what we could do if we put all of that together and helped each other and really just shared those experiences so that other people were not so afraid in their own journey. So if you enjoyed this podcast today, please take a moment and share it with someone who might need to hear it, or who might want to hear one of the future episodes that we have. And if you have a story to tell, don't hesitate to reach out, because I want this to be as much your space as it is mine. If you have a story that you want to share, or a topic that you'd love to hear be discussed, please reach out to me anytime at ChroniTalk@gmail.com. That's going to be with 2 Ks at the end of talk. So ChroniTalk@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram at ChroniTalk. So that's ChroniTalk. I would love to hear from you guys. This podcast is not just about my voice, it's also about yours. You are definitely not alone in this, and together we're going to make chronic illness visible. Until next time, take care, give yourself grace, and keep the conversation going.